First of all, introducing our challenger.
Out of the blue corner.
He's going to step in and he does. It's all over.
Let's bring on the boom.
This is Eternal MMA.
Mixed martial arts fans, welcome back and thank you for joining me once again on the Eternal Insiders Podcast, back for 2023. My name's Luke and as always, I'm your host. And joining me in today's video, the man coined as the most avoided welterweight ever by Cam O'Neill himself, the man that runs the promotion, well, avoided no longer because we finally got a matchup slated for Eternal 75. It's Lachlan Deadshot Stitt here with a fresh matchup and here to talk about it. Lachlan, we finally got the matchup, brother. How are we feeling about it?
Oh man, I'm stoked. I'm so happy to finally get a matchup. Just been training so hard, and then to finally get a matchup has been great. Really good.
So with that coin, the most avoided welterweight in the country, I mean, that's a pretty sort of heavy tag, man, but it's one I believe. You've been struggling to get an opponent for so long. Like, why do you think that's been the case? Why have we been struggling to get you a fight all this time?
Yeah, that is true, man. I think it's just because I'm such a risky fight for people. You got your guys in the top 10. They don't want to take me because if they lose to me, when I absolutely make them look like amateurs again, that's not really going to look good for them. And then when you've got guys in my own, where I am sort of at my level, the 2 to 3 or 4 pro fights, they don't want to take it either. So it kind of puts me in a hard spot with that. But we've said to Cam, both my team and I, will take anyone in the welterweight division. Does not matter. Anyone, doesn't matter.
So what did it actually feel like once you actually got that call to say that you finally got a matchup? Like, a lot of joy, a lot of relief. Like, what was the dominating emotion there when you found out?
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of ups and downs. Like I'll get a phone call, okay, we've got this person. Okay, no worries. Then 2 days later, oh no, they're pulled out. They obviously do a little bit of research and realize what I'm about and stuff, and they shit the bed. So it's I didn't get my hopes up too much, but now that the contracts have been done and stuff like that, I think it's all locked in, ready to go.
Now, when I spoke to your teammate, former champion Caleb Rideout, about the predicament that you're in terms of getting this matchup, we sort of said that maybe it's a little bit of a testament to who you are as a fighter. As you just said, they sort of look at you and know what they're up against. But is this like, this is a testament from the rest of these guys have been avoiding you? They know that you're the shit pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I obviously train hard. I promote myself in a positive way. I don't talk shit. I just let my fighting do the talking, and I perform on the night. And I think that's why Cam likes having me on his show. But that's also why the welterweights in Australia don't want to fight me.
And you sort of see this stuff firsthand, mate. Do you think this is a big problem at large, like not just for yourself? Do you sort of see this, from your perspective, a lot of guys so-called cherry picking their fights, picking their fights where they want to fight, who they want to fight?
Ben Vickers said it himself. What's the point in getting to the UFC, some of these bigger promotions, when you haven't even been tested? So that's the whole idea, is test yourself on the local scene, which I'm prepared to do. Anyone, doesn't matter. Get the experience, and then when you're ready to jump up to those premier promotions, that's when when you're ready. And I'm not at that level. I know I'm not at that level. I need to get some more experience on the local scene and get some more finishes and hopefully just finish off this year. I'd like to get 3 fights in this year, ideally, with some quick finishes to add to the highlight reel and just keep going from there.
And we'd love to see you add to the highlight reel. I mean, you started off your pro career in such, spectacular fashion, a couple of first round finishes, starting 2-0 in your career. Now, we know that, speaking to you previously, that you started your martial arts journey as a 6-year-old with karate. You moved on to try your hand out at MMA at the age of 15. Played a bit of footy in between there, so, quite an athletic person. Yep. When you sort of look at where you're at now, 2-0 as a fighter, a couple of first round finishes, with that coin again as the most avoided welterweight. Like, how is the trajectory in your mind in terms of where you envision you be at this point in your career? Is everything playing out as you thought it would?
Our goal with me, especially with my coach Moe, wasn't to rush me. That was the biggest thing, not to rush me. Get the experience. I've had kickboxing fights, I've had some boxing fights, stuff like that, and just get an overall experience on the fight game and not sort of go too early. But now that I've turned pro at 22, I feel that was a good, perfect time for me. I would have liked to have maybe 1 or 2 pro fights more than I have at the moment, but it is what it is. You know, I can't do anything about it. It's out of my control. I leave the matchmaking up, obviously, to the promotion, and I just do the training. But you know, it makes it hard on the fighter as well. I'm sure other fighters would understand it. When you're training and training and training, yes, you know, you're motivated to keep training and getting better, but it's also nice to have that fight and to showcase the skill set you've been working on.
No, and the promoters think very highly of you, and you know, that's why they want to see you back in there, and that's why we finally got you a fight. We've waited long enough. Now, you're also an exclusively signed athlete to Eternal MMA. Like, how is that pivotal for you at this sort of point in your career to sort of maybe have that security or have that avenue to, you know, just fight exclusively for the promotion?
That's been very good for my platform as well. I think with the Fight Pass deal and you know, how many eyes Eternal has on them, I think they've created quite a good base for Australian MMA and you know, showcasing what we have to offer here on the app and streaming it online and whatnot. So they put together, you know, great fights. I think if you're lucky enough to fight on Eternal, you're up there in Australia, that's for sure.
No, of course, as you said, UFC Fight Pass, the only place to be if you want the eyeballs on you. Now, as we said before, you started your career with a bang, a couple of first-round knockouts to start your pro career. Yep. How satisfied were you to do that? I know, as you said, with Coach Moe, I know you guys are, you know, very high on Coach Moe at XXX Fight Academy, and you want to get those reps in, you want to get that experience. But you know, what an ideal way to start your career. You can't be mad about that, right?
No, I'm not mad about it. I just want to fight. Like, I just want to just get in there. And if I do get the finish early, which I have in both my outings, if it presents itself, I'll take it. You know, a quick night's a good night. That's how I sort of look at it, especially putting on a performance like I have against, you know, pretty decent opponents. I was happy with my performances, and we've been working all around my game, you know, from striking to grappling, you know, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that, just to make me more of a well-rounded fighter. So people seem to think that, oh, I'll just take him down. You got to try and, number one, get me down. Number two, no one's even seen what I can do on the ground yet. So when that happens, be prepared, whoever's going to try and take me down.
No, a lot of people have spoken about the well-rounded skills that you have. Again, Caleb, you know, mentioning that it's not all about the striking with you, albeit we do know that you've got a fantastic striking game. The last fight that you had and the last win that you had with the first round knockout, knee to the face. I just was like that on record for the record that I actually voted for that as a knockout of the year when we had a little bit of a round table about that. Wasn't to be, but in my opinion, not blowing smoke up your ass, man, that was a hell of a knockout. My opinion, it was a knockout of the year. Like, what did that feel like connecting with that knee? Were you aware that was pretty much the end of it right there? It was a bit of a flash sort of knockout? Like, what was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, he sort of went to dip the head because I could feel he was a bit, you know, unsturdy on the feet after the 10, 15 second mark. He goes, oh, okay, let's take this to the ground because this isn't going to work out very good for me. So I could sort of feel him leaning towards that shot. And then as soon as he set it up and dipped the head, it was game over. It just comes straight up. So we practice that. It's not like we don't. That's just a freak of, you know, a freak incident. No, we practice that, you know, time and time again through the camp.
Straight out of the training room, as it were. And speaking of XXX Fight Academy, like, what's it like having that sort of group of guys? As I said before, I know you guys speak very highly of Coach Moe. Of course, you got Caleb right out in your corner. We've even got the XXX Fight Academy tattooed on the back. It seems like it's a real brotherhood. Tell me what it's like to have those guys having your back, literally, and what it's like, you know, being able to work with those guys going into the fight camps.
Yeah, of course. I think both me and Caleb have created a very, very good environment for, like, the younger boys coming up, like, to train them and stuff like that, help them with their careers just getting started. But obviously, I've been training with Caleb since I was 17. You know, we've been sparring together, and you see that in his fights. You know, you see each other's fighting styles in our fights and whatnot. But obviously, Moe, the time that he puts in with us boys, and then you've got, you know, Naif obviously leading the charge at the top there with his grappling. His grappling has just come through the roof, and that's, he's not only a black belt, but he's a very, very high level black belt now. For those of you who don't know, he was the number one ranked light heavyweight in Australia and New Zealand. So, in his pro career, he did very well. And now he's turned his attention to sort of helping us a bit. And then we've got Aidan Maruki, who is now our jiu-jitsu coach, who's also a very high-level black belt and who's been helping me with my camp and whatnot. So, no, we're very blessed to have the coaches that we do, and also the training partners, at XXX. It's very, 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 very beneficial.
No, it really seems like there's really big things happening at XXX Fight Academy. A lot of good guys, as we said, a lot of good coaches. Coach Moe sort of leading from the front there. Having a guy like Caleb in your corner and all that sort of thing as well at the gym. Coming up, I guess, with you guys being so young and being able to sort of learn from each other, it's fantastic. And you guys be able to grow together and learn together. It's fantastic. And to that point, the last time I actually spoke to Caleb prior to his title fight at Eternal 74, he actually said that he thinks that you might be even a little bit better technically than him. You've got a few more extra tools in the bag. He did reference maybe the fight IQ, and compared to him, he's got a little bit ways to go, but he thinks in terms of your skill set, you might actually have the edge on him at this point.
Just the all-roundness, I think. I have more of a grappling background more than Caleb does. So I've actually, I've been training a little bit more with the grappling. And I think that's what benefits me in MMA, as well as, when we spar and stuff like that. I think I have a little bit more of an edge with that. But when you spar with Caleb, it's never the same. So you could spar him one day, the next sparring session he could do something completely different. So we both sort of help each other in our sparring. So what he sort of, has a high level at, I might be better at, something like that. So
I was going to say, I imagine you guys complement each other's skill sets very well, especially fighting the same weight class.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, 100%. We definitely help each other with our fight styles and stuff, and then obviously training together. But now that we've gotten sort of accustomed to each other's styles, we try and sort of spar other people instead of sparring each other. So Moe tries to keep us apart. So, but it's always good getting back in, helping him with his camps, and I'm sure he'll be back helping me soon.
No, it's always good to have the different looks and the different repetitions, of course. And speaking of, you're originally born in Mackay. Now, looking ahead to your next fight that you've got up versus Peter Templar, it's brought to my attention that you guys actually used to train together, former training teammates at somewhere in Mackay MMA. I'm not too sure of the actual gym itself, but what can you tell us about that particular matchup you're coming on? Bit of a story there. You guys are familiar with each other. What can you tell us about that potential matchup?
Yeah, so that's where I started my MMA career, was at Mackay MMA. When it was under David Garnham, and I've been back a couple of times and whatnot, training there and stuff. But Pete used to train with me when I was a kid. I'm not a kid anymore. Maybe he thinks that he has the superior grappling. I'm not going to say, that he's not a good grappler. He is quite a high level grappler, and I'm excited, to have that matchup. But I just, I'm not going to take it easy at all, and I'm not going to tone down any of my techniques or anything. It's still going to be violence from start to finish. So
as you were saying that you've trained with him maybe as a kid, so maybe not necessarily as familiar in terms of what he's sort of bringing to the game now. But I mean, when you sort of look at him and what you do know about him, do you see it playing out potentially as that sort of, the old adage of the striker versus grappler matchup? I know you said you're very well rounded and he sort of brings that grappling game. Do you anticipate him to bring that, his grappling, and you sort of countering that with your striking, so to speak?
Yeah, I think he's obviously going to try and, take it to the ground. That's where he feels comfortable. And if he wants to, test the waters standing up, I'm more than happy, to accommodate that. Whether it works out in his favor or not, I don't think that's going to go too well. But yeah, if he wants to bring the fight to the ground, please let me showcase what I've been working on. Let me show, the Australian MMA fans what I've been working on.
The Australian MMA fans can't wait to see it, man. As we said, we've been looking forward to getting you back in the cage for so long. We're so happy that you're back in there. Yeah. Just in terms of finishing up with this matchup, where do you see the clear advantage for yourself? We know what a striker you are. We know that you got the finish in the bag. We know you got a couple of them in the bag, in fact. Is that where you see the big advantage for yourself?
Yeah, obviously, definitely the striking. I think the MMA IQ as well. I'm starting to sort of be I have a very high IQ for how many fights I've had, but also I've had a lot of fights. So this will be my 14th fight. So it's not like I've just had a couple of fights. Like this will be my 14th fight. So, but hey, I'm very well rounded, and I think Pete brings a dangerous ground game. So I'm very excited for this matchup as well. Being an ex-teammate, I'm looking to make a statement here. So, yeah, I'm very excited.
And we're looking forward to seeing what kind of statement you make. What kind of statement you do make once you get in the cage for Eternal 75. One last question, I'll let you go, man. I know you said before that, for the rest of this year, you'd like to sort of get 3 fights in. When you sort of look at the next 12 months, say 2 years of your career, where do you sort of hope to be? What do you hope to achieve? What kind of fights would you like to get in? Where do you see yourself in that next sort of 12, 24 months?
Definitely, within the 24-month mark, I want to be sort of knocking on that door of some premier promotions. Obviously, there's a few names that I'd be excited to fight. Obviously, Jack James is one of them. I'm definitely very excited to fight him. I think he's a very good matchup.
Brick top.
Of course. The yes, yeah, correct. So let's see how hard that head is. And obviously the Vaque brothers. I would very be excited to fight. Obviously, one of them. It's a big name, big gym. That'll have a lot of eyes on it as well. And then eventually work my way up, to your Alden Bates, stuff like that, and that sort of level. So, no, I'm very excited. I just hope people don't keep running away.
No, we hope more people start stepping up to the plate to face you, man. We've got obviously Peter Templar stepping in there to fight you at Eternal 75 back on the Gold Coast. Everyone's very excited to have you back in there, as am I. I think you're one of the brightest prospects that we have in the country, man, and I hope you get that run of fights in. Hope to see you at least 3 times back in the cage this year and get a good season and a good run to prepare yourself to launch that next stepping pad. So, hey, man, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I know we've spoken before, but it's good to have you on the pod for the first time. All the best for Eternal 75, and we can't wait to have you back here, man.
Awesome, Luke. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.